ABC Sports here. Just have one thing to say. The tape never lies.
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain. We run the clock, Super 16, it's the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop.
You're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Ain't no bias, Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies, college ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time, my team riding off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a picture scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on his show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big Ten, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like the clock. Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year, don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16, serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Super 16 Poll Show. This is the second season. Phil, did you think we'd ever get to the second year?
How did we do this, Chris?
How did we do this? This is exciting, man. This started literally a conversation between you and I. Hey, I have an idea. Mm-hmm. I was fortunate enough to be in the College Football Hall of Fame, and I was asked by the folks who produced that, which is the National Football Foundation, and they've teamed up, I think 2014, something like that, with the Football Writers Association of America to put together football writers and College Football Hall of Famers and put together a poll. That's how the Super 16 poll started.
Yep.
And I was asked last year to participate, and apparently I did okay because they asked me back for year 2.
On the poll show.
Poll show. So this is really exciting. Unfortunately, I do have to say this. I am representing my team. For those of y'all who might not know, I did graduate from Notre Dame from that awesome intro. But before we get started, I think Phil may have a couple of comments he might want to talk about the final 53 roster of the Bears. Our boy Ted Phillips retiring.
Getting retired? Do you know anything?
Retired.
Do you got any Italian friends?
Wow. But it's cool, though, because now you're going to talk about some new blood.
We got some
new GM,
blood.
New head coach. So let's kind of fill everybody in on the folks who watch this show who just care about college football, all 7 of us, and the idea of kind of what you're talking about with the Bears and how you think the season is going to go, considering they haven't lost a preseason game, which, by the way, doesn't mean shit, but that's okay.
Right. You know as well as anybody that preseason doesn't matter. It doesn't, as you said, mean shit, and you're 100% right. But there is no minor league in the NFL. There's been attempts at it, but what we witnessed over the weekend of football and the glory that is college football, I mean, this game of football started in New Haven, Connecticut, by the way, just like the greatest pizza in the world.
Hey.
The greatest game has started in Connecticut. Those are my claims to fame here, is football and pizza. And
I'm impressed.
How American is that?
That is very true.
Do your research, as Vic Fangio would say, what Phil's talking about. This guy over here is a Walter Camp All-American. Walter Camp, and the story is what you should actually. Eli Manning did a great little thing on ESPN Plus, going back to the Ivies and telling the stories of Walter Camp and how he jotted down and came up with the game of football. He did a really good job of that. But anyway, to your point, the Chicago Bears, oh, by the way, the original franchise of football on the professional level, they started as a traveling circus, so to speak. Seriously. I think it was like 20 games in 47 days or something like that. And this is where we are, Chris, talking about this amazing game of football as the Chicago Bears are about to kick off. The college football season kicked off, and really, ultimately, we always say, can it get any better than that? And it's like, no. It's like Saturday, I thought it was tremendous. Then LSU and Florida State last night. I'm like, what is it going to be tonight with Clemson? It's like college football is unbelievable, and it's the minor leagues for the NFL. So when we'll bring it all together now, Ryan Poles obviously cutting the lower end of the roster, keeping some pillar pieces, and establishing his draft class and how he's handling building this roster is an exciting watch. Any Chicago Bears fan, any football fan should have the Chicago Bears circled right now, because what they are is a narrative for the national media, Chris, and an unknown for the world. Who is going to step up and become the pillar pieces? We were on this show talking about the greatness of Justin Fields at points. Now he's the quarterback of the Chicago Bears. When he was in college, was there more a stoic presence at the quarterback position? I mean, we're starting to see what real coaching, and again, it's just preseason, can do for a young man and his confidence, but you attach that to his ability. So I'm excited about the GM and the coach being friends and trying to build this.
Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. And maniacal in the fact that you're establishing a culture at the same time and throwing it out there across the board. How these players were going to buy into it was an unknown, and the media tried to belittle the whole acronym hustle, loaf, hits, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, if you're not in condition in a world-class way, playing the greatest game in the world, then you're never going to be a win. And those are the differences when, as you know, Chris, how many games are won and lost in the fourth quarter? Games on the line. You dig down deep and you have conditioned yourself. You find that energy. That's what I'm excited about this season, because I think this head coach has realized I'm the head coach. I'm not the defensive guy. I'm not a play caller. I don't want to be the smartest man in the room. I want to be the best head coach for the Chicago Bears. That's all I've wanted. And we've seen this so many times. You could talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? It's about to get frisky in Chicago. I believe the Chicago Bears have a real good chance. I don't want to spoil anything for Wednesday's show, but I really am excited about the Chicago Bears. Are you going to be there, Chris, opening day?
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there opening day. However, obviously, I will be watching.
Yes.
But I want to ask you, am I allowed to ask you, like,
yes,
what your prediction is for the season? Or
we're going to do that.
Do you actually have to pay for that? Go on your pay site just to get your knowledge.
I should be a handicapper because I've won so many other people because I don't gamble. But everyone asks me, what do you think? What do you think? So it's easy for me to tell people, this is what that's the line. I would go here. When it comes to the Bears, I, like you with Notre Dame, and if you're a new listener, watcher, viewer of this show, Chris holds no bias towards it. Obviously, he has a heart for it. He's never going to hide that. But the reality, he's going to give you the facts, the truth of where he ranks these teams and how he ranks them throughout the country. That being said, I don't want to spoil what's going to be. We have Brett Maley, who is from Pawn Stars. He's out of Vegas. He's an art appraiser, right?
Okay.
World-renowned art appraiser. He's a huge fan of TTNL.
Nice.
And he's also a huge fan of the Bears. So he's coming on, Chris, Wednesday.
Okay.
And he is bringing all these prop bets that's going to set up for the year. So we're going to put these bets in with Vegas. So I don't want to ruin any of his script for Wednesday's show. But
okay, so basically, no, you can't tell me what you think the season's going to be like.
Right. I don't want to
say. See, look at that, man.
I could say this, man. Cap says 3. Your boy Cap, David Kaplan, says 3 wins. He has bet us. Do you remember this? You were there.
Yes, I was there. Yes.
Because we're coming to Chicago versus the Lions. TTNL is going to have a big bash and then a tailgate at the Lions-Bears game in Chicago.
Sweet.
If we have won over 4 games, I believe by that time, Cap is buying us all dinner.
All
so there
70,
you go.
Right? All
so
70.
I believe, honestly, to give you some perspective, I believe the Bears will have over 4 wins.
Oh, okay. Oh,
well, that's great.
Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it.
They're not going to be.
Wow. Thanks.
Well, some of these national sites have them, 1 win. They ain't picking first overall. I'll tell you that.
I understand that.
Look at our producer, even giving you notes. Chris watches. He watches.
I do. I chime in. Hey, I chime in sometimes,
yes, you
right?
do. I appreciate
my last
that.
comment. Well, we can't talk about what my last comment was, but I do watch the show.
Yes, you do.
See, I'm a fan.
Yes, you do. Listen, it's an exciting time, and it should be. It was well overdue. Some people, including myself, waited till they're in their late 30s to realize that deli meat has a lifespan of certain many days. Well, I can't blame Ted and George then, because they went over their lifespan with the deli meat of Matt Nagy. And now you go and we get somebody that comes in here and he did exactly what I said needed to be done. The penicillin needed to be accountability. I don't want to hear the media saying, yeah, the locker room loves him. Well, if they all love him, then he's probably not coaching them hard, right? So
I agree with that.
So we saw what happened on the field. Now we're going to see if the Chicago Bears can continue this. But to your point, undefeated preseasons mean nothing. What has meant a lot to me is watching the tape and seeing Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, and David Montgomery be absolute standouts in what it is going into the football season. So those guys right there, those, the 4 amigos, we'll see how they do. The offensive line is in flux. There's going to be a lot of questions there, but can they be cohesive? That stuff happens, as you know, during the season, especially with the CBA. Especially.
Love it. Okay,
there
so
you go. A little Bears.
Want to know a little bit more? Tune into Wednesday.
Yes.
TTNL.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Keeping it 100.
There we go. Keeping it 100.
I even have a graphic for you we could put up.
You do?
Yes.
Show us.
Keeping it 100.
Show us.
Wednesday night. There you go. Look at 670 the scores. Chris Emma will be in the house.
I love that part. I love that one.
He's a good dude. He's a big fan of you. Chris Emma is. And you could see all the producers, the personalities, Claudio, Will His Yo, and then Brett Maley, Pawn Stars, will be breaking down all the prop bets. Get your bets in on the best show on Bears show on the planet Wednesday night. There you go.
See, there you go. I love the pub, and the show's awesome. As I said, I tune in to watch. I learned so much because I'm a fan.
Yes, I know you are. Shane throwing a question to you.
Oh, let me see.
I need to know what was going on in Zorich's mind when Brian Kelly blew that game.
Actually, I have a special mention about that. that I'd love to talk about kind of later on because I think it's there we go. Oh,
Yes,
cool. I like that. Okay.
Oh,
All right. Here we go. Okay. Thank you very much. So, and to let folks know, this show, we're going to improve on what we did last year. We're going to have a lot more guests.
yes.
The show will be a little tighter, right? So last year was kind of Phil and I kind of learning each other. And I think we know enough about each other. When I'm going too much, you can pull me back. When you're going, well, that's all the time. When you go too much, I got to pull you back all the time. But the idea that we're going to have a nice, tight show that will cover the top 16 teams. And I think what's special, and I love when Phil talks about this, but this is not your regular rankings poll show, right? This is, I mean, I'm choosing teams because I think they're good. I think that they have good coaches. All teams have kind of this kind of X factor that folks don't necessarily kind of talk about. I talk about those. We talk about those. So this show isn't your AP top 25. This is ESPN top 20. This is a coaches show, the coaches poll, which is really interesting because the coaches show 9 times out of 10, or excuse me, the coaches poll 9 times out of 10 kind of correlates with the top AP, the top 25 AP. So oftentimes those like literally are in sync all the time. But when you watch this show, this poll, some of the teams you might say, what the hell and why? But this is from a player's perspective. And I think that's special because we kind of give a little bit more insight on why we're choosing these teams. Oftentimes you just see some numbers, so okay, well, hey, that's why Alabama's number 1, great. But which was like last year, I mean, oftentimes, Phil, we had Alabama was either 2. I don't think they got any farther than 3.
Right.
But it was just so interesting because kind of week to week, we're kind of throwing them down. And then we talked about Georgia kind of coming on the last part of the season. It was great. So, which kind of dovetails into the current poll, which before we talk about it, folks, I watched all the games last year, all the bowl games, and you'll find out that although I am a diehard Notre Dame fan, love me some Marcus Freeman, you'll see they aren't in my top 5, which they were for a lot of folks. But also teams that beat teams, they have a chance to get acknowledgement for that, right? Because guess what? They beat them. So, for example, Alabama played Georgia in the national championship. Who won that game?
Georgia.
So who might be my number 1?
Georgia.
Hello. But see,
and when this guy says he watches all the games, I want to give him a quick little. Can I share with them what you shared with me a little bit?
Real quick. So
there you go.
The timeout. So before folks think I'm balling, right? I got this former pro athlete salary. This is hilarious, right? So way back in the day, I had plasma TVs all over my basement, right? This is like 10, 15 years ago, right? As we all know, plasmas have gone out of style.
Yep.
They are probably no longer in existence right now, but guess who has them?
This guy.
Guess who has them? And
Ted Phillips said, Chris, take all these seriously. I'm retiring.
But see, here's the funny thing, right? So one of my boys I showed the picture to, he's like, damn, he got 4 TVs. Here's the thing, man. Those are all like 15, 20-year-old TVs that actually still work. Now they weigh like 500 pounds, though. That's the reason why they're not hanging on the wall. It's crazy.
Shane taking shit.
Wow. Really, Shane? See, that's not even fair, man. That is not even fair. You ain't right, man. You ain't right. However, I had Notre Dame on two of those TVs, so it wasn't all of them.
Yeah, exactly. He was watching other games too.
Exactly.
Trust me, me and him were texting back and forth. And listen, college football was in its glory. I mean,
Oh my gosh.
That's
For
like
first
going.
That's really surprising, right? Normally you have like 1 or 2 games. Very exciting.
Exactly. It was you get that Virginia Tech Kentucky game, and it's like, why am I watching this? It's like, but like you get like, for me, I get snooty. I get football privileged because all of a sudden I'm like, every freaking game is so good to watch. I need all those plasmas in my life. I have 6 TVs. They're just in different rooms.
Oh my God.
Well, I got kids. I got 4 kids. Got 1 in the boys' room, 1 in the sunroom, 1 in the living room, 1 in my bedroom. Yeah, we got a sunroom. Well, it's like a movie room.
So when the sun goes down, do you not go in the room, or
you go in the room and you watch a movie? It's dark.
So then it becomes the dark room, or what becomes
the
night room?
Movie room.
Oh, the movie room. Okay. Yeah. Not all of us have a sunroom, so sorry.
Okay, all right. I'm balling. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey man, when you're balling, you're balling. You know.
Jeez. Ask Claudio.
All right. I say we get started.
Yes.
We're excited. I'm excited. You're excited. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. We even have a couple special mentions. And of course, we'll have my 5 top games for next week and our final thoughts. So, Phil, you want to show my preseason top 16?
Now, is that the one?
That's
we're gonna start with number 16. Because I want to give some perspective here. Before the weekend started, Ron G, our super producer, Ronnie G, he had a wedding on a holiday weekend, right? So we had to come up with Super 16 poll show prior to the games.
Yes.
So let's see how well Chris did. So you want to do number 16 is what
I
you're
would
saying.
love to do that. Yes, sir.
Number 16.
Number 16, Texas.
It was kind of exciting, but it was supposed to be Texas A&M, but that's okay. So either Phil jacked it up.
I didn't do it.
I'm blaming you, bro. I'm blaming
me.
So 16 plus Texas A&M. This is what happens when you do a live show with a guy who lives
Texas A&M?
7 states away.
I didn't do any of these graphics. I'm going on number 16.
That's okay.
I hope the next one isn't Texas A&M.
Anyway, so Texas A&M. So here we go. So this is kind of what's exciting for me. The only thing is that we all know who's now is coaching Texas A&M. Don't we, Phil?
Yes.
Jimbo Fisher.
Jimbo.
Right. Who is best friends with Nick Saban.
They used to be best friends.
Well, I thought they were best friends. No,
I feel like there's some confrontation. There's
a little animosity.
Little blood in the water.
Here's the deal. So preseason. So we got a lot. We can talk about NIL. We can talk about transfer portal. We can talk about this crazy thing called the college football playoff system now, which is expanding. So we have time for all that. But here's the thing.
Yes.
In the offseason, Nick Saban talked about Jimbo Fisher getting all these recruits through NIL. Now, it's interesting because Jimbo Fisher, Texas A&M, they beat Alabama last year, and Jimbo was the first assistant coach to ever beat Father Nick Saban, right? So
yes,
that's the exciting thing. Here's the thing. So even though they played Sam Houston, they destroyed them 31-0. I think they still have October 8th circled, which is the Alabama game.
I'm sure they do.
Because that's going to be exciting. But before that, next week, they're playing App State, which I got a whole section about App State because that was a damn crazy-ass exciting game.
Unbelievable game. I know Mac Brown was dancing like Maggie after they lost 8 games and won 1. They were in club.
I might start firing folks, man. I mean, came that close to losing to App State. But anyway, so let's move on to number 15. Hopefully number 15 is correct. Phil.
I can't see.
Number 15, Ole Miss.
Hey,
Ronnie G.
Yes. Ron G, we love you, man. We love you.
Love Ron G.
So here's the thing. They beat Troy. We all love us some Lane Kiffin. I think it's going to be exciting. I feel that they should be in the top 16. Other folks might not. There's some polls had them a little lower. I'm excited about them. Unfortunately, they aren't playing too many exciting games yet. They just beat Troy. Okay, great. But the next game is Central Arkansas. So, thank you. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot I was the CBS Defensive Player of the Year.
I was just reading that, like CBS Defensive Player of the Year. I can hear Brent Musburger now.
So
he's the defensive MVP of the year.
Here's the thing: did ABC have one? Did NBC have one? Interesting.
I don't know. I don't think NBC.
I don't think
NBC? So. ABC definitely had Keith Jackson.
Jackson, yes.
Yeah, he was the Notre Dame, led by youngster Chris Zorich. I tell you,
sophomore. Yeah, I remember. Exactly. All right, so let's go on to 14. Or we can go on to we can. I don't think they're 14. No, Sheree, I know you're happy they're not 14.
He was getting fired up. He didn't like
Number 14, Miami.
I love it. All right, we're actually doing well here. See, okay, so thank you, Ron Z. So this game. Now I'm excited because Mario Cristobal left Oregon, came back home to Miami where he played football. I actually played against him. I was a senior. I think he was a sophomore. Great player, great coach. He spent some time at FIU.
Mm-hmm.
Did really well there. Then became an assistant coach, I believe. I want to say for Nick for a couple of years, and had the opportunity to go to Oregon. Didn't think he would ever leave Oregon, and Miami opened up their pockets. And his ass went home, and that's going to be an unbelievable combination because I think he's a great coach. And what he did, like the first couple months he got there, he invited like every former player back to ever play the game at Miami, which you got to think about all the greats that were there. And I want to say he even hired who did he hire? He hired somebody as like his football operations guy. He's a former Miami Hurricane that won a couple of national championships. So, I mean, he's going down the right path. It's going to be great. He's a smart guy.
Luke? Is Uncle Luke on the sideline?
I'm pretty sure Luke would not be on the sideline during this time. It's called the NCAA. So, although I'm not a big fan, they still have a bunch of rules. And I'm pretty sure Uncle Luke was bringing some rules back in the day.
Now, to your point, the Miami Hurricanes, as a kid growing up, they were always in the top 5. Like always. It was like as consistent as Alabama. That's what the expectation was with Miami. And then all of a sudden, and that's how important, recruiting and coaching is, to your point. So to get someone that has bled the blood for that program, has played there and understands what it takes, and you put it into perspective, I think it's going to be an exciting time. And we have some Miami Hurricane fans that are TTNL heads. They got to be excited about where this team is going and led by this new head coach. I'm excited about it as well, because I like when those teams come back to where they're supposed to be. Now, if you can help Nebraska, we'll see.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that, but when you think about that, during that time, you're talking about the 80s. I mean, that's when, I forgot what year it was, but that's when Miami came off the airplane in fatigues.
Yeah, were you a part of that?
I was not part of Miami. I went to the University of Notre Dame.
No, Catholics versus convicts. Were you a part of that? I was definitely
part of it. Yeah, that's the year we won the national championship. You know what?
So were you in the – why –
you're all.
I'm just asking because it was asked to me, why weren't you interviewed for that documentary?
I'm
pissed about that.
I didn't think. Oh, I don't know. You're right.
They should have had you in there, especially for the level of. Again, Chris doesn't think as highly as himself as I think of Chris.
I have no confidence. Is that what you're saying?
No, you kind of brush it aside when I mean, you were CBS Defensive Player of the Year, two-time All-American.
Okay, I won a national championship. Okay,
national champion.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm in the
College Football Hall of Fame, bro.
All right.
I'm only mentioned in the Hall of Fame as a player that played college ball.
There you go.
This guy's a Hall of Famer. I mean, perspective is, and also what you did with the Chicago Bears with
thank you. And
terrible coaching.
Here's the thing, though. Well, and also Wani. Wow. Okay. There you go. I like that. I like that, Sri. Wani was actually on Jimmy Johnson's staff.
Yes.
Back in the day, back when Miami was just
your
balling.
Your boy.
My boy Dave wants that.
I'll tell you what, Chris, if you don't get your $5 in, you ain't eating tomorrow.
No. Still bring that up. So here's the amazing thing. I was recruited by Miami, as was Russell, Maryland. And thank God I didn't go, because if I had gone to Miami, I would not have played at all. Because Russell was a baller. And interestingly enough, they won the national championship in 87. We won in 88. We're undefeated. Going into Miami the following year in 89, they beat the crap out of us. We had one loss here. They won the national championship. So they won the national championship in 87. We won 88. They won 89. I mean, it was a dynasty that they had there. So, I mean, that's my respect that I have for University of Miami and Mario Cristobal, who I think is going to bring it back to the top. So,
just real quick interjection, just because I want to put this in perspective for you new viewers. Chris has every reason to be upset with Miami, but you could see his love and passion for college football and the rivalries over anything else. That's why I said we got to do this show, because I knew he's not going to be putting Notre Dame up top because he played there. This is exciting to me to see. And let's see how Cristobal handles the pressure that goes there. Because right now, when you have a losing culture, you have to make believers out of everybody, including the goddamn ball boy.
Sure, absolutely. Because they don't want to be there.
Exactly. And you get associated with it, you know. You get you're losers. You're a bunch of losers, and then I don't want to be that. I'm going to cheer for the Rams. Little kids jumping right off the. I don't want to cheer for the Giants anymore. I'm going to be a Rams fan, and that's what this country's about. So it gets bred into you in these college towns that. This is where we root, and this is the teams we root for. And listen, I get excited to see the rebuild of the Miami Hurricanes. I hope it happens in this season. See where they go with it.
Absolutely. Well, and I forgot to mention they beat an HBCU, Bethune-Cookman, like 900-10 or something like that. So I was just going to mention that. But anyway, so let's go to number 13.
Number 13, Baylor.
Again, playing another kind of weakish team, Albany, no offense, 69-10 or something like 69-10. Yeah. We talked about Baylor last year. They were tough, playing tough in the end of the year. We're excited. Had the coach wasn't new, but he was there for a couple of years and really had a chance to kind of change the Final Four momentum toward the end of the year. I think they're going to have a great year this year. That's why they're my 13th pick.
I love the quarterback. I think he's got a little spark about him. There's something special about this kid. And you're right. It's going to be seen, Baylor, Mike Singletary, how they come out. They're always known for their offense. Can they play some defense? That's going to be the story for Baylor this year. Right now, there they are at 13.
And they're next week they're going to actually play a good BYU team that unfortunately is just going to be one of the more exciting games next week because it's going to be rough.
It's a rough weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and I'm kind of pissed about it because we had some great games first week.
Yep.
Next week, maybe one, maybe two great games.
Don't ruin your 5 games to watch.
All right. Okay. Let's go ahead to number 12 then.
Number 12, Oregon.
This was a huge surprise. This was crazy. Now,
did Bethune-Cookman show up?
Wow. I wasn't sure, right? So this was Georgia and Oregon. They played so they actually played before Notre Dame. And they wound up having a great lineup on Saturday. And I thought this was going to be a great game, right? I mean, you had a chance to. So I think we ended last year's poll. Oregon was probably in the top 10, I think, maybe something like that.
Yeah, they were.
And obviously, Georgia had a chance to win the national championship. Georgia had, I think, 80% of their team going to NFL in the first round. So they really didn't have a lot of guys left, right? So a lot of people were counting them out. However, and I want to talk about this later, but we're going to talk about Stetson Bennett, who I think is just the man. But anyway, so that was Oregon. Hopefully they have a chance to redeem themselves. Obviously, they're going to win next week. They're playing Eastern Washington. But the idea that I thought they were going to do a lot better.
This poll, for you just tuning in, Chris came up with prior to the weekend to give it perspective. So Chris did not have this poll, and next week he'll be on track because our producer, Ron G., who does all the graphics, does an amazing job with Lawrence Fleming, the voice of TTNL. We said, Chris, let's just put your preseason poll so you could see where Chris is on point here, even though Texas wasn't Texas. It was Texas A&M, Ron. Oregon, the expectation for Oregon, the defensive coordinator from Georgia going over there, taking over. You thought they were going to have something. They got the kid Webb, the kid passing on. Unfortunate story. I don't know if you saw that on game day.
Yes, I'm actually going to talk about that. So,
okay, you want to talk about?
Why don't you stick to the script? Just all we were supposed to talk about, because now you're coming into my territory and my final thought. It's on the script. Exactly. Damn it!
I didn't know. I wasn't given a script.
Again, this is what
all
happens.
Right, we'll move on. We'll move on.
Away from each other, right? So
at least you have your. At least you have your attorney notes.
I do. Thank you,
Let's
sir.
go on to number. He's got it listed. Did he skip 11? Because I see 10, Cherie. Is that me?
I haven't skipped 11 yet.
Not you, Ron G. I just see 10. I'm getting nervous now.
No, we're going to talk about 11.
I don't see an 11. I don't see an 11 on my drops. You're the guest. You can't see.
That's okay. Then
he skipped 11. So you just talk about 11.
He was in a rush to get to that wedding.
He was. I got to give him a break, man. He was like, everything's all set. I'm sorry. This wedding, I got to drive. It's the holiday.
That's a ton of pressure, man. And then he's like, oh, I got to do this. I'm good. All right. Wait, do we have drums on that?
Let me give you a little drum line from the countdown. There you go.
Wait,
give
who does
it
the voice
me.
again?
Lawrence Fleming.
Okay. This is my best Lawrence Fleming. Number 11. Oh, that's terrible. Wow.
That's bad.
Number
11.
That's no better.
Michigan State.
There you go. All right. Michigan State's number 11. So this was, you want to talk about a crazy year last year. These guys, they wound up getting, I think, half their squad through the transfer portal. And they wound up just having a great season that no one thought they were going to have last year. And I think hopefully they'll kind of learn from that and kind of work on that. Unfortunately, they played Western Michigan and actually allowed 13 points. They wound up winning 35-13, but I really wasn't impressed. I didn't watch the game because I kind of knew they were going to win. And unfortunately, next week I probably won't watch either because they're playing Akron. So no offense, I want to watch those big games because unfortunately they're really, really hard to kind of find next week. And Akron isn't going to be one of them. But I do respect Michigan State, and I do have them in the top 16.
Here you go, Michigan State, Mel Tucker.
Again,
coming out.
How much did he get? 95 million?
He got paid. Michigan State is one of those teams that always is on the cusp of something, and then they come back to mediocresville. Can Mel Tucker turn that page? Right there, to your point, watching that game, because I did watch that game on the first half, and it was sluggish. But again, is that to be expected sometimes?
Exactly. And when you're playing kind of, and this is what a lot of folks talked about when you're kind of these big schools, yet Alabama just doesn't have with Alabama for some reason. But 99% of other schools actually play down to the competition, right?
Exactly.
But I guess because Alabama's okay, I'm actually mentioning Alabama, Shane, so you should be happy. But the idea that Alabama's second and third team guys are 5-star guys, so when they go in a game, they're actually going to ball and not going to allow points and stuff like that. So
exactly, talent. They got a lot of talent. Speaking of talent, number 10, Chris.
Number 10, USC.
I just want to laugh when I talk about USC now because now you're talking about Lincoln Riley. He got a jet. He got a smoking crib. He got like 3. Didn't he get like 3 cribs and like a jet or something? Or access.
He's got a TV show.
So he made the jump from Oklahoma last year to USC, and they just threw the bank at him, and he wound up getting like literally. I mean, I joke about the jet, but I think his family has like
no, they do. Free access to a jet, to your point. Maybe they don't own the jet in their name. They don't have to pay taxes, right?
They just say, taxi, hey, jet.
Yeah, exactly. Jet.
I like to go
George Jetson.
There you go. So,
we're just going to fly out to Cancun.
Right.
Chris.
You know, I'm gonna go to Cancun for breakfast. You know,
exactly.
I'll be back by 3.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, Matt Nagy, all he got was a Hulu account with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. Well, hey, at least he got hired.
He's the assistant to the assistant regional manager at
that's because he's still getting paid by the Bears. You know,
okay.
He's happy about that.
USC.
They actually played Rice. Again, 66-14. Was happy to see our boy Caleb Williams, who we talked about last year,
right,
from Oklahoma.
Transfer portal.
Took over. What was the guy's name? You remember the guy's name?
Dart. I love the kid. Dart, right?
No. This was the kid who was there.
Oh, the kid, Spencer Rattler.
Yes,
he's in South Carolina.
They were talking about Heisman Trophy and everything before the season started.
Yep.
He had a couple bad games. There's a Caleb in, literally balled out. They won every game after that except for one.
The crowd was chanting for him. Remember?
It was crazy.
It was
crazy. And what did he do? He decided to follow his coach and go to SC. And there were rumors that he got tons and tons of cash through the NIL. But you know, who cares? But here's the thing, though. He actually played really well. But again, it was Rice. And I think their next opponent is going to be Stanford, a little better, but I think this is kind of the academic route that they're playing. So they're playing Rice, now going to Stanford. They may play Vanderbilt, and I think wind up playing Harvard and Yale or something like that. That's the academic thing. Then after that, they're going to go into their Pac-12 schedule. So. Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-9. What is it now? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Pac-Man.
They're going to be in the Big Ten. My bad.
They're going to be in the Big Ten.
Exactly. I mean, it's craziness, man. This is, I think, perfect example. I don't know if you saw those awesome Dr. Pepper commercials
Oh yeah.
during those games. I mean, they hit it on the
Can
head.
we get you in one? Come on.
That'd be awesome, but they had it.
Talk to
They were talking about
Bosworth.
NILs. They were talking about
Oh yeah, they had it all.
the East Coast is on the West Coast, and the West Coast on the East. It was great. It was absolutely terrific. They do a great job. But here's a perfect example: SC coach and quarterback left Oklahoma. Think they're going to do well. They're ranked 10 for us. They have to play the Irish later round, which I think is going to be kind of interesting. So
It's gonna be interesting. Let's go to your number 9.
love it.
Number 9, Utah.
Man, Phil, this one hurt, man. This
Oh,
was
man.
exciting, man. Did
This
you see
game
any of
was
this?
great. Yes.
It
What a
was
game.
back and forth, man. It was crazy. But here's the thing, though: Florida's unranked, and Utah, in my poll, is 9. I think some other
Right.
polls had them a little higher. But the idea that they had a great year last year.
Absolutely. They're
And
always
Trevor
well
Lawrence
coached.
Come back. What is it? What's his? That's not Willingham. What's the coach's name? I forgot.
I forget his name there too. He's a
But
good coach, man.
He's been there for a while,
the
and
heck's his
really
name?
should get.
Cherie,
something-
can you look it up? Utah head coach. Maybe somebody knows.
I'm sure they do.
But
This is
that was a
terrible.
freaking great. And that quarterback from Florida.
Yes.
Oh, you could see, some guys are just meant for the moment. They rise to the occasion. You can always see those types of guy. I remember when I was scouting and Jake Plummer was playing at Arizona State, and every time in the critical moments, Jake would be able to make play. And there's something to be said of that. There's
Sure.
something to be said of that. Same with your guy, Whittingham. Thank you.
Yeah, Whittingham. Okay.
You were right. It wasn't Willingham. Tyrone Willingham.
Oh,
Remember
I didn't know
him?
that. Of course I do. He's a great guy.
I always believed in him coaching. I always believed in him coaching. But anyway, some guys have that spotlight. They play to the game. Hey, Zorich, your whiskey is magically delicious.
Hey, magically delicious. I love it.
David Smith was at the tailgate. That's my guy there.
Nice. I'm surprised you still have some left. Man, if it tastes that good, how do you have less?
They stole my bottles. I'm still waiting for mine. Freaking Mikey Tenorelli took off with mine, the Bachelor. He's laughing.
He was cool. He was cool.
Yeah, he's a
I
good dude.
remember meeting him. Yeah.
Dave Smith is a great dude, though. Cherie's still waiting for hers, too, this year.
I'm working on it.
But yes, Utah upset by unranked Florida. With the new head coach, you could see some passion there, though, by that guy.
Yes, and rightfully so. I mean, how excited did he have a chance to take down? First year had a chance to take down a number 17. So I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
number 8. Yeah, no, number
9 in your poll.
Sorry. Right.
Let's go to number 8, Ron G.
Number 8, Oklahoma.
Here we go, y'all. So this is the team that depleted. I don't even know how they even played anymore, right? The whole squad left to go to SC, but they have amazing coach Brent Venables from Clemson.
Yes.
Was a defense coordinator there for years. Finally had a chance, jump ship to be a head coach. Wanted to get a little emotional, I think. They were talking to me after the game.
Boomer.
Pardon me?
Boomer Sooner. You froze for a second, so I was covering I don't know if the internet crashed over there in the attic, the Zorich attic, the panic room.
I should go in the panic room. I should go in the garage. I might be able to do that with have the 4 TVs in the background, right?
As long as you're not playing any games during them, they'll hit us off with a copyright claim with that stuff. Yeah, some kid we know had his TV on in the background, and Nickelodeon hit him off with freaking iCarly, for God's sake. Imagine if they're playing the NFL or college, all of a sudden The police are knocking on our door.
Right,
Sir.
right, exactly. No, it'll be the NFL licensing group.
Yeah, exactly. All 420 lawyers they have.
Yes. All right, so
Oklahoma.
okay,
Boomer
victory against it was cool. Season's going to get started, I think, after the third game. Now they're playing Kent State next week. So let's jump to a team from number 7.
Number 7 was skipped as well.
Wow. Are you serious?
Ronnie G.
Yeah, man. He must have been drinking before he went to the
Russian Ronnie.
There we go. Russian Ronnie didn't forget about 8 teams. The damn most important team on the damn on the poll.
Russian Ronnie skips the one team.
That's hilarious.
The one goddamn team. There it is, Chris. There it is. We'll make up for Russian Ronnie with
man. Thank you, Russian Ronnie, for not putting up 7. Just so I can see that. So my number 7 is Notre Dame.
Yes.
Although some folks have them a little higher, I kind of question that because they have a new head coach who I love. Huge Marcus Freeman fan.
You do. I know you
do. New quarterback as well. Not sure how they're ranked number 5, but I had them at number 7. But I want to talk about them when we talk about the team that actually beat them. So let's kind of do like a mini skip.
We'll do a skip. Do a skip.
And hopefully number 6 is on there. Right. Yes. Russian Ronnie.
Russian Ronnie. He's going to be so embarrassed tomorrow. I know the guy's integrity.
You got to give him shit for this, man.
Got to give him a little bit, Ron.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, I mean, Jackal's all upset because we give him a little bit. I hope Ronnie can handle this.
Number 6, Oklahoma State.
I can't believe he got 6, but he didn't get number 7. That's
It will be talked about on Keeping It 100 this week.
Nice. So Oklahoma State. So a lot of folks, hey man, where's Oklahoma State? Look, I'm looking at it as Notre Dame lost to Oklahoma State. So in my poll, why should Notre Dame be ranked higher than Oklahoma State, right? And there's obviously a lot of factors, but at the end of the day, this is the last game they played. Oklahoma State put them open up a can of whip ass on Notre Dame in Marcus Freeman's first game, right? So that's why I think they should be ranked higher. Although they wound up playing kind of so-so team with Central Michigan, my worry is, so this is crazy, the score is 58-44.
Right.
Okay, Central Michigan's in the MAC. Now, unless Central Michigan's balling in the MAC, now I know their Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator went over to Ohio State.
Right.
Apparently he took the whole staff with him or something happened because they did not play defense against the MAC squad for Central Michigan, which I was really surprised about. I thought they would do a lot better. Obviously love the mullet, but they wound up giving up 44 points and 500 and almost 50 yards.
You got to be watchful of that, especially in that conference where the defense ends up, everybody's playing offense there. But how does your defense, again, it's the first week, so you're going to see how these guys tighten up their defenses and how they build their offense and how they build their football team. But to your point, it's going to get your eyes wide open on Oklahoma State for next week and how you're going to rank them accordingly. So, Chris, just real quick, these were Chris's preseason rankings leading up to the weekend. This is what he thought prior to the games. Now, normally Chris will come out with his poll after the weekend, but Labor Day, we still have another game tonight. So were we going to push the show again? No, we decided to roll tonight, get you going, roll tide, as Shane would say, and get you going on the season. And then we'll put out your poll again for this coming week, Friday, so everyone knows. And then we'll start your ranking show next
Exactly.
Monday night after the weekend, and we continue going on.
We'll be all caught up.
Then we'll be all caught up.
But I mean,
yes.
How exciting is that, right? Once again, kind of just a small interlude here, having a chance to watch college football again. The pageantry, the excitement, the craziness,
the crowds.
I mean, just come on, man. It was absolutely.
Shane
amazing.
was at Syracuse watching with his son, and he
Syracuse and what? Ball State or Syracuse?
No, they actually played Louisville and put a
go.
whooping on Louisville.
Hey, hello.
Had a goal line stance. His son Riley was waving the fucking Syracuse towel.
Nice.
He's getting fired up.
You dropped the F-bomb.
I did drop an F-bomb.
College football show, which we got young kids watching. So for those young kids, I apologize. Phil once again dropped
What are the whys?
Why, Phil? Why?
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Let's go to number 5.
Yes, please. Let's go to number 5. Please.
Number 5. Clemson.
There they are.
That's awesome. So here we have Clemson, who I'm kind of excited about. We've been waiting for DJ Unveils. I tried.
We all try. Is he going to step up, Chris, in your opinion?
He has to.
This is it, man. I was surprised that he won the job coming out of spring and coming into the season. That's how much I don't have confidence in this game.
Right.
Tonight, we'll find out. Is there a score? Is there an update now?
I think not only was he a 5-star guy, but he came out.
Oh, my God.
And actually balled. What was that? The year that they lost to ND.
Yeah.
It was
7-0. 7-0 Clemson.
Hey, there we go.
Right
That's a
now,
start.
over Georgia Tech, the rambling wreck of Georgia Tech. But he had Ron Powlus type hype. I'm dead serious. Remember Ronnie?
Absolutely. He's on Notre Dame staff right now.
I know.
Man, he actually is the administrator over the whole football program. So
really? Well, Ron, you did have a lot of hype coming out. I remember being young and looking at this high school kid on the cover of Sports Illustrated going to Notre Dame. That's
crazy.
I remember I can't remember the headline, but I remember him on the cover of Sports Illustrated, like Notre Dame is getting their next Joe Montana, something like that.
See, that's too much pressure, man.
Yes.
That's way too much.
Matt, I would love to talk to him. Maybe you can get him on the show. That would be one for the ages. Ron Powell is talking about that pressure. Just think about the amount of pressure, especially with social media now. But back then, that was like the epitome of going viral, is being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But anyway, Clemson 7-0. Clemson blocks punt, runs it to the 5, went for it on 4th down. Look at the Bears fan 85 giving us a play-by-play, Chris.
All right, hey man, who needs a TV? Who needs a TV? Right, exactly.
Come on, right here.
We just roll it.
Chris does have them winning tonight and at number 5 right now.
I do, which I think they actually deserve. I say that with like air quotes because I'm not sure how good they're going to be, but they're returning a ton of players. I'm a huge Dabo Sweeney fan. I think he's going to turn the program around. I mean, we say he's going to turn the program around like it's been bad. I think this is the first time he's lost like more than 2 games a season. So like it's crazy, right?
The program's fine. Is the quarterback
definitely
going to find his persona? That's really the Clemson story. There's never.
And he'll have an amazing chance against Furman next week. So
you always find your footing with Furman.
That sounds like a great commercial. but again, so this is the frustrating part about college football is that it seems like, and I totally understand that, but I would love for them to kind of do what a lot of the SEC teams do, is kind of move their kind of preseason games throughout the year, only because it makes it a little bit more exciting for us fans. But I totally understand why they have the non-conference games up front, just so that they can get ready for the conference. But, I think Georgia, and I know Alabama does it, right before either the Iron Bowl or the SEC championship game, they save one of those preseason games for the week before that game, so they can have a tune-up and have a chance to play a lot of the second team guys before they go and really kind of mean something for the following game. So it's not going to be that exciting, but I'm sure they'll do very well. You want to move on to number 4, Phil?
Number 4, Ohio State.
Okay, I was saving this for a little later. So this game, a lot of folks were, Chris, it's 1,000-point, Notre Dame's 1,000-point underdog. What's going to happen? A lot of folks didn't have faith in Notre Dame. I have faith in Notre Dame, but not necessarily ranking-wise. I saw what's going on in the offseason. I see what's going on in the locker room, having the chance to spend some time with Marcus Freeman. I know what these kids are hearing from their head coaches, from the assistant coaches. Everybody's kind of locked in and really understands the opportunity they have with this new head coach. Over on my podcast, I've been fawning over Coach Freeman for a long time, but I do have to say, last year on this show, my boy Phil broke the news to me.
Yes.
And I had no idea what was going on, and that was that Brian Kelly left. And I don't know if you remember, but on the show you said, who do you think should be the new head coach? You said, well, what about your boy Marcus Freeman? I said, no. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
Being honest, right? Just
you
being
were
honest.
being truthful.
Do I think he's a great fit in Notre Dame? Absolutely. But at the time, he had been the defensive coordinator for 8 months? He's 35 years old, never been a head coach before. That's not what Notre Dame looks for when they're looking for a head coach. Now, hey, they could change the criteria, which they obviously did. And the best thing about that whole situation is I talked to Marcus after that, and I told him, I was like, dude, I was on air doing my poll show, and I just said you wouldn't be the head coach. He was like, Chris, I didn't think I was going to be the head coach. Honestly, think about it. And he kind of listed the same things I did, but it just goes to show you kind of what he was able to do in the minds he was able to change. So you fast forward a couple months now as a head coach going to his first game, how much pressure was that, right?
Absolutely.
You would have started off with Alabama, there would have been less pressure. The idea was that he balled at Ohio State. He was a ball. He competed for 2 national championships. The dude was all Big Ten. He was the man at Ohio State. Now he's going to go back and play them as the head coach. First big head coaching job. Come on. So outside of all that stuff, going into the third quarter, they still had the lead at 10-7. Now, the wheels kind of came off later in the fourth quarter and everything else. I think their offensive line really kind of handed to Notre Dame's defensive line. I think the running back came out of the blue, and I'm not sure he had that many yards, but he was dominating, just absolutely dominating. And I think the frustrating part for a lot of ND fans, I think, is that they're watching the game and it looked like we were just trying to keep on. We were trying to hold on to that 7-point lead, and that's not how you coach games.
They got conservative on offense and then became aggressive at the wrong moment on defense. If you sat in that zone and forced them to kick a field goal, it's 10-10 at the worst.
Right,
but you got aggressive on a safety blitz. I sat there, Chris, and I texted you, safety blitz. Right. I couldn't believe it.
As soon as it happened, it was like, what?
It's like the boxer that puts himself in the corner, taunts, and then decides he's going to get aggressive at the body and takes one in the face.
Right.
It was the worst time to do that. And of course, I was rooting for Notre Dame, in all honesty, to win. I wanted to see them pull the upset, beat these guys, and show everybody in the world that, hey, college football any given Saturday,
Sure, exactly.
Thursday, or whatever.
I think Ohio State's a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a very good team. They have a Heisman candidate this year in C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to do well. I'm kind of sad that we didn't have a chance to see the receiver because he wound up getting injured early, I believe. But a lot of those guys, or a lot of the former players, said that he's the best receiver in the group, in the receiving room, and two of those guys went in the first round last year. So when you have the best receiver in the country and he's sidelining, you have a Heisman candidate who can throw to him. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see that challenge. Now, again, I'm about kind of lining up your best against your best, right? So I wanted to see how Notre Dame was going to perform against one of the best teams in the country, one of the best players. That's why you go to these schools, right? So everybody's talking about this 17, 18-point underdogs they were. Man, forget about that. I want to see how these guys compete on the level of these great teams, right? Do they belong? And I think after Saturday's game, although Notre Dame lost, I think it proves that they belong in that conversation now. I don't think they're one of the elite teams yet, but they're knocking on the door, considering they jumped in the front, or they had a lead in the beginning against a great team, when at halftime it had a great team, and wound up losing it in the last quarter. Now, yes, they wound up losing by 10, 11 points, but folks thought they were going to get slaughtered. So I think they had a good performance, not a great performance. They didn't have a great performance. I think they had an okay performance. I think now they can go back, look at the film, and find out, kind of what guys might need a little breather at the end, or who their real tough guys are. But as a whole, I mean, I don't think they played bad. I mean, they were okay.
They played great defense.
They did.
And I just think
for 3 quarters.
I think your point was they didn't understand you got to keep your foot on the gas. And that let you down in that.
Right.
There's no other way around it.
Well, and I think that I want to say maybe they were surprised that they had a chance to kind of keep that lead for as long as they did. And it's a boot. I mean, I wear a 14.3E, but you put that boot on and just jam it in their neck and keep that damn boot on their neck for as long as you need to, But I think they were kind of nervous, and the coaching staff, I mean, their booty holes kind of clenched up, and I think they were like freaking out a little bit. And again, I'm sure they wanted to win, but it just looked like they were just trying to play to kind of conserve the 3-point lead that they had.
It was unfortunate because they had the opportunity, and they needed that stop. Once they scored and took the lead, all of a sudden you became a rushed showcase. And listen, hopefully you learn from this. This story of Notre Dame is going to be defined under Freeman very quickly. This is not an easy place to coach. The expectations and everything that goes along with it. You talk about some of the great coaches that were there. How does he handle the rebound?
Sure.
We saw the hype going in.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State was heavily favored. You get out to the lead and you booty holes tightened up, as you said. And listen, I'm looking forward to see how this story plays itself out.
Yes, and as much as everybody loved Coach Holtz, he won a national championship in year 3, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that everybody wants Marcus to win and Coach Freeman to win is great, but give him some slack. Let him get his players in, because he's only been the head coach for like 8 months now, or maybe less than that. So let's kind of give him.
He lost the bowl game, then he loses the opening game. one with which, and I think fans don't keep it in perspective that
Right.
how many of you were banking on Notre Dame beating Ohio State in the shoe over there? How many of you? So let's see where they go moving forward.
Yes. Yes.
Let's go to number 3.
Let's do it.
I think Cherie might smile.
Number 3, Michigan.
All righty. We got
All
blue,
right, all right, all
right?
right.
So it's gonna be all right. So we have Cherie and my boy Rick DeLeon, who are huge Michigan fans.
Rick.
I actually thought that they really deserve to be here. I mean, why? Well, because they beat Ohio State, and guess what? Ohio State was ranked 4th. Michigan was ranked. I mean, hey man, you know what? This is the way I look at it, right? Until you go out there and prove yourself, then I'm going to go on with what you did last year. People say, well, Chris, they had quarterback change, this and that. Hold on. You still got like 80 other guys on the team. They remember that. They remember that loss. They remember that victory. How do you bounce back from that? And so that's the reason why I'm being respectful for what Michigan did last year. It was the first time Jim Harbaugh beat Ohio State in 8 years, 7 years or something like that. So the opportunity that they're going to roll with that, and until you prove me wrong, then, I will drop you. But they wound up playing Colorado State 51-7. I forgot how many damn people scored, but it was a lot. It was crazy. I only watched the game for the first quarter, and I was like, okay. I know who's going to win here.
Listen, the guy plays his football team the way that I like, and they're running counters and power and going action off of it. And they open up against, what was it, Central Michigan, and they do
Colorado State.
Oh, excuse me, Colorado State.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Colorado State, and they do what you said. Other Oklahoma State and other teams didn't. They will go out there and beat that ass and pound the rock and continue to score and play with great fundamentals.
Right.
And listen, number 3 to me is exactly where I would rank them. I really believe in what they do at Michigan and how they build their football team with the offensive line. Now, their recruiting of quarterbacks, I'm surprised because it's Jim Harbaugh. He can't,
Right.
but yeah, he can't get the great quarterback in there. But listen, it's exciting to see your rankings here. I'm step for step with you,
which is amazing because the fact that you and I can agree on something is kind of unique.
Let's go to number 2.
Number 2, Alabama.
There they are.
Bama's at number 2, and apparently Little Sisters of the Poor, they were not able to be scheduled, so they wound up getting Utah State to go 55-0. So this is what I talked about earlier before. This is a team, this is a coach, this is a staff who understands when you're wearing that boot, how to keep it on the neck. Now, okay, should you run up the score of 55? Look, you know what? The starters were not in later in the game. So you had a chance to get these kids who are 5 or 4-star guys, right, who want to play into the game. And what happens when you get kids who've been on the bench who are 4 or 5-star players, when they get in the game, they're going to start balling, and it's against Utah State. So that's the reason why you're going to get a 55-0 score. I was excited about Bryce Young. He only had 195 yards, but he didn't need to do anything else. And I think Nick is a master at this. He understands what he has to do at what time. So toward the end of the year, I guarantee you Bryce Young is going to be in the hunt again for the Heisman.
I don't know how. I know Shane, the smartest man, is not a fan of Bryce Young, apparently. I absolutely love this kid.
I love him.
I haven't seen a kid with this kind of composure. Again, he's playing Utah State, home of the Bears starting left tackle,
Hey,
Braxton Jones,
there you go.
Utah State. But you got to say, this kid to me is going to be exciting to watch. The temperament and the posed composure in the pocket is there. Accuracy. He's not a runner. I think as an NFL quarterback prospect, I'm the opposite end of Shane. I think this kid is going to be special for whoever drafts him in the NFL. Put that in your pocket and serve that later. But Alabama right there at number 2. Who's your number 1? Who's your daddy?
Who is my daddy?
Number 1, Georgia.
Hello. Okay, so now we're talking about a top 15 matchup on the first day of college football. Or I'm sorry, it wasn't the first day. It was the first weekend of college football. It was going to be an exciting game. Unfortunately, I had no idea that the wheels came off for Oregon. Georgia actually went out there and they balled. And my boy Stetson Bennett, I mean, walk on, great story. People, they were even counting him out last year. This is his first full camp. He's the number 1 guy. You know that, right?
Exactly.
I mean, to the point where TJ Daniels is like, "Oh, I'm out of here because y'all are going with the walk-on dude, so I'm going to bounce."
Exactly.
What happened? And he goes out there and balls again. I mean, I'm so excited to watch this team. A little bit more excited than I am last year. But I think he deserves to be obviously he deserves to be the starter. But the idea that now the team is going to rally behind him early, he had a chance to go through the whole spring. He had a chance to go through the summer ball as being the number 1 guy. And I think at one point the coaching staff even told him, "Hey, you might want to bounce." And I remember taking a picture of let me see if I can find it right quick of the screen because I wanted to talk to you guys about I wanted to talk to you about it. Come on, where am I from? It was they actually gave a stat. Here it is. Check this out. So in 2017, he was on a scout team. Okay.
Yes.
At Georgia. 2018, he goes to junior college. 2019, he backs up Jake Fromm. 20, he's TJ Daniels backup. 21, he's TJ Daniels back until he got injured. Then he comes in there with the freaking national championship. And now 2002 is the starter. I mean, dude, you can't make that story up. Scout team, hey man, you're not going to play here. You need to go transfer. Transfers to a JUCO and then comes back. Back up for 2 years after that. I mean, that's the story, man.
It's the story, and it's a story of perseverance. If you have determination and pride, as well as some God-given ability, then you can do what it is you want when people tell you can't. It's happened over and over. Tom Brady is the story as well. It just happened on the NFL level.
Mm-hmm.
So this kid's setting the bar. I remember someone who worked at our network he said, never don't ever count out someone like this, ever. And you could see the talent there that he has. And he's maniacal in the fact that he's going to do anything in his power to make sure he is going to win the game. That's it.
I mean, you talk about leadership. I mean, think about like when he talks to these guys. I mean, these guys you used to beat up on them when he was on the scout team.
Absolutely.
And he took them to the promised land. They beat Alabama. I mean, this is, you can't make this up. I mean, this is an amazing story about success, perseverance. But I like to look at it as just being this great leader. He was told no by the staff.
Right.
Hey, you might want to transfer. He says no. He stays around, wins the national championship for him, and oh, by the way, comes back and now he's competing again. So awesome. It's
unbelievable story. And now he's on the number 1 team on the Super 16 Post
Show.
with Chris Zorich every Monday night. Chris Zorich comes on the airwaves to give you his top 16 teams in the country. We're going to have a lot of guests, a lot of former players and names that you know from college and pro football this season. You're going to be wanting to subscribe to the YouTube channels. Also subscribe to Chris Zorich's YouTube channel.
Hey.
His Twitter handle, as well as his podcast. Chris, obviously, you've seen him on our shows. He's a big part of the network. And I really am excited about this show and football being back, because we've dealt with COVID. And then last year was kind of a warm-up, appetizer. Now it feels like this is full-on football. The pride, the passion is out there. And we're going to be keeping it 100.
Love it.
Right here with you, Chris. Now, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Every week we're going up to the weekend. What are the games?
I like it. I don't know if you remember in the beginning of the hour, we kind of talked about how week 2 was not going to be that exciting. I'm not going to lie, it's really not. The games I found that are going to be a little intriguing. We got Alabama, Texas.
Yeah,
that's going to be good, right?
I'm excited about that game.
That might be the only one, because the next best game I think is South Carolina at Arkansas. We have an unranked South Carolina team.
South Carolina with your boy, former Heisman Trophy candidate, transfer from Oklahoma,
Spencer Rattler. Yes, sir.
There
I forgot the name was on the tip of my tongue. Then we have Tennessee at Pittsburgh, which I think is going to be good, because
I like
Pittsburgh,
that game.
Actually, they had a close one, and I really thought. So here's another question. Maybe our listeners know what's going on here. The backyard brawl with West Virginia and Pittsburgh. Why did it take an 11-year hiatus?
Because of the brawl. No, I don't know.
I was going to say, well, really? That was awesome.
I don't know.
I had no idea. I mean, I was
find that out.
Not watching, so maybe somebody knows. Maybe Shane, the
smartest man,
knows that.
Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't.
We have another Kentucky at Florida, which I think should be a good game, considering now that Florida should be ranked in some polls, maybe, past 16. But I think
I couldn't believe. I was shocked that they came in unranked in the national poll, not your poll,
right?
But in the national poll, I was surprised.
Considering there's another team in Ohio called Cincinnati, who they have like 23 or 24, which again, I think we're going to realize that that team needs a couple years to.
He's got to turn that around.
And the last game is going to be Baylor and BYU, which I think is going to be a pretty interesting game, because BYU is going to be a good team, and we actually have Baylor at 10. So no, we have Baylor at 13. So 13. I'm excited about those games.
Those games are good games right there. Chris Zorich's 5 games you must watch on the weekend. This was his Super 16 poll show for week 1, the preseason. Ron G. Russian Ron got it right there. I'll tell you that.
Russian Ron. New nickname. Absolutely.
But there they are. Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Miami, Baylor, Oregon, Michigan State, USC, Utah, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Clemson, who's playing right now, Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia. How will the tides turn this weekend?
Love it. I do want to have a small special mention. Yes. There were just 2 really exciting games I want to talk about. One was App State and North Carolina.
Yes.
That was one of the most exciting games I've seen in a long time. For those folks who might not know, like literally it was neck and neck. In App State, they have a reputation for taking down, David and Goliath.
Yeah.
And
Michigan, Cherie, they took them down.
Oh, we're still mentioning that after like 14 years.
You'll
People
never forget that. The block kick.
Apparently not.
No, you
But
can't.
I mean, this game, like literally, was and when you think about it, the last play of the game, it was like literally inches. Had the quarterback scored, I mean, like literally, it was inches away from the end zone. I mean, you score, and all of a sudden, North Carolina is going to go down as the next Michigan, right? So I'm sure all the Michigan fans are like, please score, please score.
Listen, the reality of this football team going forward is a barn burner. App State, they deserve some recognition. I was a little taken aback. I was actually at the amusement park with the kids, and I'm in lines for roller coaster. They were dragging me on every ride, including Phobia, Chris.
How many times you throw up?
I didn't throw up at all because as I've gotten older now, I can't go on those freaking like little rides that spin. The roller coasters, I'm okay.
Okay.
The little rides, like the kids are making me pull the thing and spin it, as it's going around like a boat. I'm like, I was getting dizzy as hell. But here I am in line, and it was for Thunder and Lightning, and this ride was outrageous. But I'm sitting here watching App State. Everyone's over my shoulder. We're all watching App State, and I was surprised. Like young teenagers are like, "Oh my God, North Carolina's getting beat." And my son Tate goes, "Isn't that Mitch Trubisky where he went to school?" I go, "That is." And they're about to lose, but they won. They won. But
the second game, of course, was Florida State LSU.
Oh,
that was crazy, man.
That was amazing game. That was just when you thought it couldn't, it did. It's like made for television. The punt muff, and you're like, the game's over. Right? But they do a short toss.
And they had a list of like the 4 miscues or 5 miscues that the special teams had.
Oh my God.
They still, but to Brian Kelly's credit, they were still in the freaking game. After all that stuff,
when they muffed the punt, I'm like, this dude is still in the game as a coach. No, he's not on my team. Get him out. He muffs it again. I'm like, oh my God, they just lost. And Florida State, my father was very critical of the coach. Like, don't talk so much. Just great game. We got to be better and get out. He's like giving the whole. I was like, yeah, I kind of see what you're saying there. But the toss play, I can't stand toss plays on the goal line.
Well,
Chris.
as a running back, I mean, I'm sure you're kind of like,
just hand the ball off, drive it up there, and win this game outright. I, for you, was rooting completely against Coach Kelly. I'm just letting you know. I don't like guys that go prancing off in the night and then saying, I'm going to a real conference. You know, that.
And have real athletes at the
real athlete. Like, what are you talking about? Like Notre Dame could do a lot of things about some Heisman winners and history and tradition of football there. I think you got a lot of NFL talent out there. He has 7 tight ends in the NFL. Let's stop. Okay.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Starting to sound like Chip Kelly, for God's sake.
Well, and then I guess the last part is the final thought.
Final thoughts. Yes. We need that, Shane. Maybe Ivan could produce or somebody. Final thoughts.
Well, I know it's not going to be Run and Ron. So I'm sorry, Russian Ron. So.
Russian Ron.
And this literally was, and I didn't expect to kind of see this. I was just watching College Game Day, and they talked about Spencer Webb, who was the tight end for Oregon. Just kind of a really kind of rough story about his growing up and stuff like that. And I mean,
Oh my God.
It just kind of, I mean, you so rooted for this kid to
Exactly.
just find a kind of way out of that situation, and he wound up doing it, right? It was it his half brother that wound up adopting him?
Yes, it ended
Okay.
up adopting him,
Took him out of
teaching him
the
the way.
environment, and then got him really kind of involved in sports, and just an amazing kid, and had a chance. He earned a scholarship at Oregon. I mean, that's hard in itself. And balls at Oregon, right? I mean, just a great player playing the tight end position.
Exactly.
And all the guys loved him, and had an accident after a team meeting, kind of hang out with his boys. And unfortunately, I mean, I think they were climbing rocks or something like that. And
No, they were going to these quarries that actually have like water, natural water slides on the rocks, and jumping off the cliffs.
Okay.
I don't think they went into detail of exactly but it wasn't good.
Right.
I mean, so that's when they, after a hot day, they went over to the quarry to screw around and
which I'm sure that they've done 1,000 times,
Exactly. And this one time, just gives me goosebumps. The story, my wife and I were watching the story before we left for the amusement park, and it really tugged at our heartstrings, to your point there. So, and he was on the cusp of becoming an NFL drafted tight end. He had that much ability and talent at 6'6", almost 6'7". So yeah.
And I think what's really cool, and it's so interesting, right? Because Mario left, and the new coach came in, and you could tell he was really kind of involved. And although he only spent a short period of time with Spencer, was really touched by the whole story. I mean, he even got emotional as well. Right. And there's and I don't know, I'm not from that area, but there's like a lookout point, or like a cliff or something like that, named Spencer something.
Yes.
And he talked about how the last day of training camp, they're going to hike that every year that he's there.
Exactly.
In honor of Spencer Webb. And I thought that was kind of really, and for those, and unfortunately, I've been on a team where we lost a teammate during that time. And it's rough, man. It's just psychologically, you're like, man, we were just in meetings together, and it's really tough. But the one thing it does, if there's only anything positive out of it, is it brings the team really close, right? Closer together. Right. And oftentimes it's so close, like the experiences that you have oftentimes aren't the experiences that you talk about when you get together on the field. They're the experiences that you have hanging out with each other, kind of going on those road trips, being involved in your fellow teammates from the point where they're people, right? So when you guys get together, they're not talking about how many touchdowns somebody scored. And I think that's what's going to happen with these guys, is they're going to become closer because of this. And 15, 20 years from now, when they get together, they're going to be remembering how much of a great teammate and friend Spencer was.
It's an amazing thing, football. We talk about the camaraderie, the fans, the whole thing, but there is a brotherhood that is developed, as you said, as a family, and what they're doing and trying to build out there. Again, they didn't show up, so to speak, versus Georgia, but I really liked what the head coach is building there around this former teammate, and it's a tough loss for Oregon, and how they move forward with it is going to be obviously talked about for his tenure. Hopefully, he stays there forever, the coach, and they turn this around and keep that tradition. I love the tradition of college football. Speaking of traditions, I want to just say this week, just a real quick before we wrap up tonight.
Real quick.
Keeping it 100. We'll be live with the scores. Chris Emma getting you ready for Sunday. Opening kickoff, Bears versus 49ers. Chris Emma's going to give us the skinny and the scoop on all things Chicago Bears. And then we have from Porn Stars, Brett Maley, the art evangelist, I'll call him. He comes on with his prop bets, huge friend of the network and the show. I love the guy. So tune in Wednesday night. We'll be live breaking that down. Tomorrow night, the guys go live on Fantasy, keeping it fantasy. Tomorrow night, Claudio, my guy, Jackal, and Ivan Vargas will be live breaking down fantasy football right here on the Tape Never Lies Network. Gotta love that. And one last thing, Sunday, Chris, right after the game. You know where you're gonna be. This is where you tune in, and everybody tune in. Bears Hour Live.
Great show.
Thank you. That's gonna be the best Bears post-game show, bar none, right there. You gotta love it. We'll be live right after the game, breaking it down. What am I gonna rant about? A victory? I'm gonna get a victory rant, Chris.
Of course you are.
That's what I
want. That's one of the 4 you need to do before we make Dave Kaplan spend thousands of dollars.
Yes. I'm excited. College football is back. The Super 16 poll show is back. There's Russian Ronnie right there.
There we go, right in the middle. I'd like to thank some folks. The Football Writers Association of America.
Yes.
I'd like to thank the National Football Foundation, who also hosts the College Football Hall of Fame. So I want to thank you. Want to thank Cherie as well. I also want to thank Russian Ron G for making us think on our toes, which I love. I think that's great. And also want to thank all of the folks that are watching and listening to the show. This is going to be a lot of fun. This started innocently as a question to Phil. Hey, can I mention that I'm doing this poll? And then you and Shane got together and like, man, let's do something right. So that's kind of how this started. I'm excited about being back for the second season, and I'm looking forward to hanging out with you all college football season long.
I'm super excited about it. You are the man. Great show tonight to kick off. Way to handle adversity.
Hey.
Roll with the punches. The former 3-time All-American defensive lineman out of Notre Dame. Your Fighting Irish. Are they going to come back? How are they going to be throughout the season?
Marshall, they better.
Well,
they better.
We will see.
Yes, sir.
This thing is going to be a lot of fun. You fans in the chat, I've seen you. Ralph, I see Ralph is back, and I see Ben Ricketts, Jason Onstad, Alan Bradage, Cam is back. Oh, HL Priest.
Thanks, guys.
Even Bullets is back.
Hey,
he's disappointed. He was in his tears over Notre Dame, but he was here to support. 85 to Bears. 85 is here. Everybody there. I can't wait to continue this show. As we move forward all season long with Christopher Zorich, my partner in crime. For Chris Zorich, I'm your guy, Draft Dr. Phil, on the Tape Never Lies Network. We'll be back next Monday, 8 o'clock East, breaking down the next top 16 poll
show.
There you go. We'll see you next week. We're getting old, Chris. I passed it to you. Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.